But then there are also simply dumb ideas. And one of those dumb ideas is the him too movement, hashtag him too. And this has been floating around for a little bit, but it recently got a big boost because a viral Facebook post that connected the him too movement to Brett Kavanaugh was shared about 150,000 times. And I want to talk about it. And I will mention, in case it's not evident to you, hashtag him too is a sort of rebuttal or counterpoint to hashtag me too, which has been mostly but not all women coming forward about sexual assaults and harassment and rape that happened to them, mostly but not all at the hands of male perpetrators. So let's look at the him too movement's poster or image or graphic, which says, as long as women who accuse men of sexual attacks are believed without evidence or due process, no man is safe. I'm not safe. Your husband isn't safe. Your father isn't safe. Hashtag him too. Your son isn't safe. Your grandson isn't safe. Your male friends aren't safe. Hashtag I stand with Brett, meaning Brett Kavanaugh, and hashtag confirm Kavanaugh now. I have so many things to say about this. I don't even know where to start. First of all, the right will very often create these sort of counter movements to progressive activism that looks to point out or end or address inequalities or discrimination or grievances against the disadvantaged group by creating a group exclusive for those that are usually the perpetrators rather than the victims. So let me give you an example of that, because that's kind of a mouthful. One example would be, oh, there's an LGBT student union at a college. That's exclusive, they will say. We'll show them, we'll create a straight student union, and we won't allow LGBT people, and it will be all about defending the rights of straight people. First of all, most of those groups, like most of those LGBT student unions, they don't actually ban straight people from being members. It's for LGBT individuals and their allies, right? Some of them maybe do ban straight people, and I think I'm probably against that. I think it defeats the purpose. But okay, most of them don't actually do that. There's a Latino student union. Okay, well, we're making a white student union. No Hispanics allowed. It's about white pride. It's about white community. The thing you have to understand is that if the white student union and white pride were being talked about in good faith, there really wouldn't be anything wrong with it. But then you look into these groups and you realize that these student unions and community groups exist because there's been historical oppression, discrimination, and othering of the minority groups, and it's made them feel the need for solidarity, a place where they can discuss issues with allies and relate to their position in society sort of in a comfortable manner. I'm not talking about a, quote, safe space, but I'm talking about a community space that is based around issues relevant to them. In the United States, white people aren't oppressed. Straight people aren't oppressed. Christians aren't oppressed. And when you realize that, you immediately have to identify, unless you're willingly ignorant or deliberately ignoring it or malicious, that these counter movement groups, the white student union or the straight student alliance or whatever, straight men's alliance, they are being created in bad faith, and they often end up perpetrating, I would say maybe perpetuating is a better word, the exact kind of sentiment that causes people to want the Hispanic student union or the LGBT student union in the first place. And so that brings us to him too, which is what we're talking about now. The him too movement is arguing that at any time, any man could be the victim of false sexual assault allegations. They claim Brett Kavanaugh is one of these people, which with every new accuser becomes harder and harder to believe. They want evidence and they want due process. The problem is evidence and due process are judicial terms, right? The legal system needs due process and should evaluate evidence if they're going to dole out prison sentences to people. But the idea that in casual colloquial life, we should presume that any woman who says, I was assaulted, is a liar, and that men are actually the real victims is laughable. It is truly hilarious. They will, of course, point to individual cases of false allegations of rape or sexual assault. We've covered those cases, Pat. Those instances are terrible. If you make false allegations about rape or sexual assault, you should be punished, and the law prescribes that punishment. There is no doubt about it. But the reality is that overall, false accusations about rape and sexual assault are statistically rare. We have a country of 300